The second generation Jaguar XK coded X150 arrived in 2006 and ceased production in 2014 without a replacement. Although some of the tooling used to build the XK is still used today in the construction of the Jaguar F-Type, allowing some of the spirit of the XK to live on. The two cars were produced together between 2012 and 2014, and the F-Type is not considered a replacement for the XK. The X150 Jaguar XK debuted at the 2005 Frankfurt Motor Show, after having been shown in concept form at the North American International Auto Show of the same year with the name Jaguar Advanced Lightweight Coupe. The second generation XK is an overall larger vehicle than the first generation that was coded X100, with 6.5 inches more metalwork nose to tail and 2.5 inches greater width. It was designed by Ian Callum, who among his extensive automotive resume for both Jaguar and other automotive brands, was part of the CX-75 concept car in 2010 and Jaguar's first electric car, the I-Pace. A handful of dates to be aware of when looking for an XK are the first facelift in 2009, this ushers in the 5-litre engine. There is a second facelift in 2011. Both are relatively mild from a styling standpoint, but the second is notable by the addition of daylight running LEDs to the headlights. An XKR was available from 2007 and an XKRS entered the market in 2012 after being unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show, and production ended across the whole range in July 2014. Before moving into the common issues that you should look out for on an XK, we would note that all years have fairly strong reliability reported from owners, with a general consensus being that the XK was built ahead of its time, and compared to contemporary rivals, it was one of the more reliable options. And yes, we are talking about a Jaguar. Many people like to judge them without knowing them, and certain models did earn a reputation for unreliability, but it doesn't mean that other models can't eschew the stereotype, and the X150 XK certainly appears to be one of them. So whether shopping for an early model or one of the last off the factory line, there doesn't appear to be a particular year that you should prefer more than another, and instead buy in condition. A very clean 2007 model may be a better purchase than an average 2012 model if you aren't committed to wanting a particular engine, but an independent inspection is always worth it. Also a note to buyers, if you really want a wood and leather steering wheel along with wood gear shifter, you'll be looking at a 2006 or 2007 car. After this, the option to have these particular trim mix was deleted from the options list in most markets. You should also note that the traditional automatic shifter was exchanged for a rising dial on the first facelift model and remained until the XK ceased production. The first thing to look out for when going to see a car is a tyre pressure monitoring sensor issue, TPMS for short. The module or one of the sensors can suffer a fault, causing the monitoring system to believe one or more of the tyres is underinflated. Check for any dents or creases to the bodywork, as panels are aluminium, and so your local body shop may charge more, or you may need to find a specialist for repairs. The air conditioning drain tube, or duckbill, which is named so due to its shape, can fail and will lead to moisture in the footwell. This is a known fault, and although the part is very cheap, access is incredibly difficult, so if viewing a car, look for any signs of moisture build-up and feel the carpet. This is imperative when buying an XK, as the labour charge to get to the part can be up to 16 hours, as the repair manual requires the dashboard to be removed. Owners on forums have looked for inventive ways to resolve this issue, but if there is one you're looking at that has a receipt for the work done, take it as a positive buying sign. For most owners, this will be the only fault they report in years of happy motoring, so be aware. There was a rumour that this problem was resolved when the engine was switched to a 5-litre, but we found owners with late 5-litre models that suffered the same problem, so assume all XKs from the early models to the last XKRS will have the problem. It is worth checking the dashboard lever around the edge of the bottom of the windscreen. This is a known area for it to crack or pull away, especially in hot climates. The XK is sensitive to low voltage batteries. To avoid electrical problems, replace the battery at the first sign of any low charge. Leaving it will likely result in other issues that may not go away when a fresh battery is installed. If buying an example that has no history of a battery change, it may be a good idea to budget for an immediate change for peace of mind. Finally, it is not widely reported that these cars suffer from catalytic converter issues. However, it is something to be mindful of when viewing a vehicle, as some owners have reported needing a replacement at low mileage. Make sure that the car starts without hesitation, idles smoothly, and doesn't emit visible gases from the exhaust while driving or fast idling. Before we move on to the engine, we'd be grateful if you press like on the video to help others find it if you think this has been a helpful guide. And as ever, we appreciate every subscriber we get to the channel. The two engine options on the XK are the 4.2 V8 fitted to early models and the 5 litre fitted to later models. We'll start with the 4.2. Producing 298 brake horsepower with a combined 25 miles per gallon in naturally aspirated form on the regular XK model, this is one of the most reliable units used in both Jaguars and Land Rovers of the time. Although it is considered a very sturdy engine with few common issues, water pumps are one of the more notable concerns for XK owners, and their failure can cause overheating issues, so look out for one that has had a replacement water pump if possible. Thermostat failures have also been reported at about 60,000 miles, and so worth treating this as a consumable service item and replacing for preventative maintenance. The supercharged version of the 4.2 litre V8 produces 420 brake horsepower with an average of 22.9 miles per gallon. Adding forced induction has little effect on the motor's reliability, and so the same issues as the naturally aspirated motor are what you should look out for. A good service history for either engine, and an owner that has been willing to spend money when needed to keep the XK or XKR in top condition are positive buying signs. The 5 litre was introduced in 2009 and produces 385 brake horsepower with an average of 25.2 miles per gallon in naturally aspirated form. A timing chain rattle should be listened out for, as these motors did suffer timing chain issues, although this is not as common for the XK application as some others fitted with this motor. The water pump and crossover pipe have reported issues, and failed oil sensors not warning owners of low levels are the two more critical areas to look out for. If you intend to use the vehicle as a weekend car, then checking the oil regularly rather than relying on the sensor is advised. The other iteration of the 5 litre is the supercharged version in the XKR, producing 503 brake horsepower with an average of 23 miles per gallon, and the 542 brake horsepower in the much rarer XKRS, with the same recorded average fuel economy, although this further reduces during spirited driving than in the naturally aspirated version of the motor. Again, supercharging this engine doesn't appear to have any additional common faults over the naturally aspirated 5 litre. Owners should also note that a previous sealed for life recommendation by ZF for the gearbox has been retracted. The firm now suggests topping up the gearbox oil, although it would probably be better to change the oil entirely. A specialist can do this who is familiar with the gearbox. It is commonly used across several manufacturers. On to our picks. If on a tighter budget, then an earlier XK with evidence of air conditioning drain tubes being sorted, and for those on a higher budget you may be tempted by the 5 litre supercharged XKR, but this will likely feel overpowered for the design and feel of the XK, and so a regular XK with a naturally aspirated 5 litre V8 and a strong service history wins our vote. We hope you found this video helpful. For more, consider subscribing, and if you've liked this video, why not check out our Jaguar XK Buyers guide next.